What's up, guys? What's growing on? So you're probably wondering, when am I going to give you a farm update from that freeze? And I've just been really busy. The farm hasn't been looking too good. We're finally getting some rain and things are starting to come back to life around here. So wanted to give you guys a little update, walk you around, show you what's growing on here on the farm. We're up in that front northwest corner, kind of that market garden corridor, and all the elderberry are flowering. You can see my Fakahatchee grass is still pretty brown. It actually dried out really bad this year from our drought. Typical drought we have in Florida every year, which is that March, April, May. And we're in May now and we're already getting into rainy season. So, you know, it started a little bit early this year. We're very lucky. This large flowering bush right here, this is that Vitex or the chastity. It's been covered in bees and beneficial insects recently. All the Dune sunflowers doing really well, the peanuts coming back, and maybe just about, I don't know, 2 weeks ago the mulberries ended. So we had a killer loquat season actually this year. We had a killer mulberry season, lots of Cherry of the Rio Grande, lots of Suriname cherries. It's been a really productive year. Right now we've got peaches and plums coming on, kind of loaded up, so very exciting. You can see actually this everbearing mulberry is still kind of hanging on a little bit. You can see the little Blackberries in there, and that variety is definitely delicious. Much smaller fruit. So the good thing about the everbearing is it fruits multiple times per year, unlike the giant or the Pakistani, which is typically one. We have found a little pro tip there with the heavy pruning. By the way, we keep ours on the espalier to get them to fruit 2, 3, maybe sometimes 4 times a year. Just do that pruning, it shocks them into fruiting again. So, you know, kind of a little pro tip there for the mulberries. All of our persimmons are breaking back out. Peaches, like I said, kind of have fruit on them right now. And something interesting that I did this year out here in the market garden that I'll point out to y'all, you know, typically when we get that early frost before Christmas, it kills all my sweet potatoes, it kills all my black beans, takes out my cover crops in the garden. So this year I cover cropped in a perennial ryegrass, and I don't know why they call it perennial because it doesn't come back, more of an annual ryegrass, but it gave me a really nice cover crop, a dark green in the market garden through that winter time. It was quite beautiful looking, added natural nitrogen back to the soil, and all that's kind of starting to die off right now, and my peanuts coming back. So that was a great try, this, you know, kind of trial and error type thing that I tried this winter, and I might probably do it again next year. I was really impressed with how well it worked, how well it protected the soil and kind of covered things up out here. So I'm all the way up at the front of the farm, and sweet almonds doing really well. Loquats are looking great, you know, and everything that we're looking at out here, I mean everything we're looking at out here, zero irrigation. You know, we don't use any irrigation here on the farm. So all these plants are basically thriving on neglect. We've been, like I said, a busy couple of weeks. We just wrapped up Jim's course. I know y'all have been asking, when's Jim's course coming out? When's Jim's course coming out? Very soon, I can promise you that. And we're doing some marketing, going over some final reviews, spell checks, this and that'll be out here very soon. I'll probably do a release video for you guys. If you're not on my email list, get on my email list, because that's another way we'll actually notify you. So just like with the mulberries, the loquats, I'm out here all the time. I just haven't had a chance to make you guys a picture, and something I wanted to point out. I post pictures, I post on my story almost every day on Instagram. So if I'm not on YouTube and you're on Instagram, that's a good way to follow what's ripening, you know, what's growing on here on the farm. So get on Instagram. I'll put a link in the description down below. Follow me on there. You know, it's a little bit more consistent than the YouTube video. So if you can't hold out until my next video, it's a good way to see what we're doing, what kind of projects we have growing on. So I'm kind of in that front food forest, and I was walking this the other night and I'm like, this is really due for a revamp. You know, a couple of the items I planted in here I wasn't really very knowledgeable with the plants when they first went in, like one in particular, the goldenrod. I planted the wrong variety. It's kind of starting to spread a little bit too much. I'm getting ready to revamp, add some more persimmons in this area, put some more flowers in this area, kind of neaten it up a little bit and change the design that we had going on. So I'll possibly make y'all a video when I do this revamp of the space. And persimmons are looking great. Pinto palm looks good. Everything's kind of filling in really nicely. I mean, look at this persimmon over here. Extremely happy. Just came out of dormancy a couple of weeks ago. And something really cool I'll show you guys. This is a pineapple guava, or Thioha. Fajoha, there's a couple different ways to pronounce it. And this is a pretty awesome one, very cold hardy. And what's really interesting about this one is, or not interesting, but awesome, it has edible side flowers. So those little white petals, not side flowers, it has edible petals. So those little white, petals on the side are edible and delicious, very sweet. A lot of people say they taste just like strawberry shortcake. That one probably wasn't at that quite overripe stage where it had that strawberry shortcake to it, but it's still very good. Also makes a fruit. Sometimes we do a little self-pollinating with this one. Doesn't seem to pollinate itself too well, so if you take a flower and kind of wipe it on the next flower, you will get a much better fruit set. Unfortunately, I lost my passion vines this winter, and I've been way too busy to actually replant any of this stuff. They're all dead up there in the top of the oak trees right now, unfortunately, and that's something that I'm definitely missing. And I guess something I should point out to y'all, the perennial peanut ground cover. This is 2 years old, and it's becoming like a carpet through this area. Something I definitely want to add some more of. That right there in that space has a little bit of the sweet potato vine in it, but for the most part, this is almost all perennial peanut through here. So, last year I did my tree planting video right over here with that mango, and that's something I know you guys are dying to know what died here on the farm. I think I lost 7 grafted trees in this year's winter. We had 23 degrees sustained for 6 hours. We were definitely bound to lose some things, and something I'll point out to you guys, I've said it many times, A, the plants don't read the books, and B, don't plant anything that you're not willing to lose. I don't want to be out here, suggesting to you guys to push the edge, to push this microclimate, and you're in zone, who knows, 8, and you're trying to grow mangoes. That's not a great idea. I learned my lesson this year. I'm going to be planting probably less subtropical species and more of what more guaranteed. So more loquats. Definitely more plums, definitely more persimmons. I'm really excited about persimmons, and some of the things that did really well for us around here I was really surprised about, and I'm going to show you guys that now. So you can see that's the last of my passion fruit vine that died in the tree. I need to cut that out of there. Everything over here is flowering really nice right now. My guava was probably about 10 foot tall before the freeze. That's kind of, you can see recovering. And I'm really happy I didn't rush this video, because a lot of this stuff that was starting to sprout back out, started looking really good, and then all of a sudden didn't make it. So, some of the things I thought were coming back, like the Barbados cherry next to the side of my house, it had all beautiful sprouts on the bottom. I'm like, oh, that thing recovered. It's dead now. I don't know if it was a combination of the drought or what it was that killed it, but it did not make it. So cherry of the Rio Grande, that cold hardy jackfruit, Jack Frost jackfruit, it's coming back. That's it right here. So, luckily, most of my jackfruits, or not even most, all of the jackfruits I had planted here on Sandhill Farm were not grafted. So it's not a big deal. It's not going to die back below the rootstock. Same plant's coming back up from the ground that was originally there. So, yes, I'm not going to possibly get fruit as quickly as I could, but the tree's fine. They didn't die all the way, so it's not as big of a deal. Spiraling gingers are pushing really hard. That's the blue porterweed. Another avocado. This is a really exciting ginger, and I can't wait till it gets these little side flowers on it. This makes an awesome little side shoot that's edible, delicious, nice and sweet. If you look over here this way, you'll kind of see the red right there. There's some flowering bananas starting to come on. All the gingers are back up, gall and gall, turmeric's all starting to pop back up. Looking quite beautiful out here this morning. You can see, I'll show you a couple of these turmerics coming back out. Beautiful like flag. Pineapple, we've got lots of pineapples fruiting right now. All of the shampoo gingers are back from the winter time. They don't quite have those cones on them yet, but they've come back really nice. Lychee made it through the winter just fine. Has a little bit of a dead spot on it. I think something just fell and broke. And this area has definitely kind of got thinned out a little bit. This has been the toughest area to get out and make a video with, because I will sit on my back porch a lot. I look out into the, this food forest area, and from what used to be, this jungle where I felt like I was in Costa Rica, it looked like somebody just clear cut the backyard after the freeze. So, all the bananas are recovering great. All the mangoes are recovering great. And my biggest mango right up here by the back of the pool cage, which is a Carey variety, it's fruited twice for me now, is coming back to life, and it's above the rootstock. And what's also exciting, just to the right of that, I'll show you guys in a second, I have a Sapote, and I thought that was done. I kind of wrote that one off. I cut it off maybe 6 inches above the graft, and it sprouted above the graft. So even that guy's coming back. A lot of my star fruits also took cold damage. I've cut all the dead wood off, and I know you guys wanted me to do a video on removing that dead wood, but really there's almost no rhyme to reason to removing the dead wood. It's not like when you're properly pruning the tree. We're typically just taking the dead wood back to where it's alive, letting the tree sprout back out, and then working on reforming and reshaping the tree. So up here, this is kind of like the back of my house area. Here's a star fruit that's coming back, Suriname cherry, guava that's recovering, obviously some bananas, malanga, taro, and here's that Sapote I was talking about. And it's coming back above the graft. Here's one of the mangoes. And something I'll tell you, like I told you, we took this down to the deadwood. I was just out here and I hit all of these new growth tips, I think last night even. I'm trying to get the tree to start forming at this lower height and not getting tall and trying to reach for the sun, which happens a lot when you're trying to grow a tree in a dappled light situation. Over here on the right is probably the only star fruit that I haven't pruned yet. This one still has some deadwood in it, and you can see it's still quite big. This is the one that was probably the least affected. Kind of up here by the back of the house, we've got malangas and turmeric and longevity spinach, lots of Turk's cap hibiscus. That's a really exciting one. This is probably one of my favorite hibiscuses. Something I'll point out to you guys. So as you can see, when I pulled that hibiscus off the plant, I actually popped it right out of the cap, and that end that goes into the hibiscus is like filled with sugar. It's absolutely delicious. Kids would even love it. Something I'll point out, all hibiscus flowers are edible. Some are good, some are eh. So up here by the back of the house, I'm definitely a big fan of Cabos. This is a Brazilian tree grape. This one's flowering right now. It's flowered already since wintertime. This will be the second time. And you can see all of those little flower buds just kind of starting to start off of the trunk. And that thing produces fruit just like the jackfruit. So how the jackfruit's able to support a really large fruit, they grow right onto the trunk of the tree. That's actually called coliferous production. Same exact thing happens with that Cabo, where they grow right on the trunk of the tree. So pretty cool. I thought I'd share that with you guys real quick. I want to show you guys some of these pineapples that are just starting to fruit for us. Obviously some of the rare canna lilies with the red leaves are kind of starting to come back really nice. Here's another mango well above the graft. I mean, it's pretty mind-blowing that these mangoes took 23 degrees for 6 hours. They're not even supposed to take a freeze, so they're definitely pretty tough. I was surprised. The mangoes did well compared to some other species around here. Oops, and I was telling you guys about pineapples. Here's one that's starting to make a pineapple. And in this area, I'm definitely due for some mulch on the paths again. And here's another pineapple. Here's another pineapple. Here's another pineapple. All right, so we're gonna have pineapples this year. That's quite exciting. I'm in the back of my house. This is where you could barely see the house prior, and a lot of things over here got severely cut back. Even this Japote, which is fairly cold hardy, did take a little bit of tip burn from that freeze. Star fruits in this area are recovering. My biggest jackfruits in this area are sprouting back up. This is a coconut cream mango. This one was probably like 15 foot. I actually just tipped this one too. You can see I like to tip them when they have this really orange new growth on them. That's when I come up and I hit them. And I've hit about 7 of the tips on here. I just did that. You know, and that'll keep the tree a little bit more compact and stop it from getting so leggy, especially if you stay on top of that tipping process. All right, so back of the house, Chama and Macadamia Nut. And these aren't the greatest examples. This is another tropical cherry. Absolutely no cold damage. So those are super cold hardy. One of the ones that I definitely observed out here after the freeze, I was like, wow, you know, those are super tough. Even my Macadamia Nut, super tough. They took it like a champ. So very impressed by that. Here's another mango. This one got the whole top cut off of it. This one also just got tipped. You'll see the little bit of white cream coming out of there. This is the perennial vegetable called pepper leaf. Don't really eat it too much, but it makes a great ground coverage for the space. I haven't found it to be too tasty. Another star fruit recovering from the freeze. There's some variegated katuk down there. That's that whitish plant you guys see. Another Japote. Here's a big star fruit that recovered really well. This one came back from the freeze like a champ. Got a ton of new growth on it. And I'd be surprised if it doesn't flower very soon for you guys. All the bananas are recovered great. Here's a jackfruit. Great example of what happens to the jackfruits. So this one's sending out some multiple sprouts right off of that trunk, but it's coming back. And we'll see. I probably won't plant too many more jackfruit, and if I do, they're just seeds. So it's not like I'm losing a lot here. Here's another cold hardy tree coming up I wanted to point out to you guys. So this one on the right had a lot of new growth on it when we had the freeze, and it actually did take a little bit of damage, but they recovered great. They're actually fairly cold hardy, and that's a white Sapote. White Sapotes did really well for us here. Took the cold like a champ. A lot of I probably have 25 clumping varieties of bamboo. A lot of my really tropical varieties, they definitely had a lot of burn. A lot of the less tropical varieties look fine still. So here's that big macadamia nut coming up, and I want to show you guys. I mean, you know, we were cold here, and this thing took it like a champ. I mean, look at the size of this tree. It actually seems happier than it ever has before. Really putting on some nice new growth. Mac nut looks great. Pond area is all filling in good. We've planted lots of Seminole pumpkin this year. I've got lots of cool cover crops coming on. Just put a lot of black bean out, just put a lot of cow pea out, just put a lot of sun pea out. So I'll make y'all a follow-up video on that once it starts to kind of come in. Mexican sunflower are getting big. That's our main chop and drop species. Loquat, Pakistani mulberry, and back little food forest area next to the greenhouse. Everything's thriving. Mimosa's coming back really nice. Firebush is coming back really nice. I mean, look at all these plums. I probably have 20 plum trees loaded right now. So that's that Scarlet Beauty variety. There's another Scarlet Beauty right there. There's another one over there on the other side. Big sweet acacia doing really good. Obviously all the mulberries are doing good. Hey, good morning. Did you come to say hello, or are you just gonna come on in and roll on by? Hi, Ginger. Hi. So as you can see, those are the Seminole pumpkins, all coming in really nice. And some of them actually already have flowers, some have fruit establishing on them. Cattleya Guava has fruit and flowers. We've added some loquats in this space, and just getting to be about that time for the chop and drop. I think my biggest loss around here after the freeze was in the nursery. We lost lots of stock. Lots of papayas are probably the worst. All the bananas are recovering now. There was just a lot of damage. It looked quite ugly out here for a while. I kind of wanted to lock my doors. Probably why I went to Costa Rica a couple times. So all the Sapote Cabos are doing really good, and figs and mulberries and loquats. All my subtropical species are over there, like lychee, mango, starfruit, and then we've got the other big nursery on the back side. So, you know, this area out here definitely froze really hard. Even the Cattleya Guavas had some tip burn. The bananas are all back now. Everything's kind of recovering great. I'm gonna peek you guys in the greenhouse, and this is a wrap. So that perennial peanut ground cover is doing excellent in here. I just tipped these mangoes. They're starting to come back and get some really nice shape. Suriname cherries, probably, this is a black grafted variety. It had some flowers on it. There we go. Has some flowers on it. I had to cut back the Barbados cherries. I got multiple flowers on the bananas in here though. Banana flower setting fruit, banana flower. Pretty exciting. And then I got a big pineapple or two. I got this one, which you can see a little bit of cold damage left on that pineapple. And I got this big boy. Woo! Here's a jackfruit coming back from the stump. All right, so that's about what I got for a farm update. I guess I'll point out these olives real quick because they look awesome. We planted 3-gallon olives over here, I think about 14 months ago, and I'm on the east side of my property, and you can see how nicely these are filling in. All the way along the fence line, down towards that end, there's loquats and pinto palms. All of these have the Seminole Pumpkins that will eventually end up being a ground cover through this space. My blackberries are just finishing up. And you can see the berries on there. It's actually sending a second round right now. I see some red ones over there on the fence. And everything is pushing and pumping hard right now. All right, I owed you guys a farm update. Just wanted to show you what's growing on out here. I've been extremely busy with traveling, with obviously installs, consulting. It's never ending for me. I'm quite busy, and some exciting stuff is I'm actually heading up to see Justin Rhodes this weekend. So I know you guys know Justin. We're going to be going to hang out probably for 4 or 5 days, going to Asheville, see what's going on around his farm. Then I'll be back here. I got another couple of projects to get going on. So something else I'll tell you guys, I just finished my 2.0 Costa Rica farm tour. So there's more of those videos coming too, so hold tight. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed the farm follow-up update. I'll try to do these a little bit more often, especially as the farm's starting to look better like this. But just don't forget, like, subscribe, share, and if you haven't pounded that bell, you better pound it.